Hello everyone, my name is Alden, and I'm here to talk to you about theories, because it's finally time to do that. So let's check my notes here. Let's look at... yes. Here we go. So, for this particular theory, let's start off with the least likely of them. And that's going to be that the miraculous have the ability to change personalities. Or the personalities of their holders, anyway. Now, this already has a widely accepted explanation that was present since Season 1, so I'm going to bring it up here. And that is that they don't. That's the widely accepted thing, that they just don't. And people tend to act differently when they wear a mask anyway. They tend to act in ways that you would never see them act. Cat Noir, or Adrian Agreste, is a prime example of this. He is never free to be himself or explore who he truly is. So, he uses his work as a hero to explore himself, to understand himself. You could argue that it's the same thing with Marinette, where she's not nearly as awkward and doesn't have to deal with the pressure of being Marinette when she's Ladybug. And again, with Hawkmoth, whoever he might be. But let's entertain that idea for just a little bit and go over what evidence we may or may not have. The first of which being the stark differences between the characters and their hero personas. Now, I'm always one to advocate that I highly doubt Gabriel Agreste was the kind of guy who would turn children into supervillains and then make them very murderous and then sick them on innocent people. I know that sounds bad, but there aren't many sane people who do that. And I know he's desperate to get the miraculous for his evil plans, but there are certain lines, and this is Season 1, so we have to go with what information we have in Season 1. We can't take things from other seasons, and do we know that he's trying to bring his wife back? I'm gonna... hold on, let me look this up real quick. Season 2, we find out that Gabriel is Hawkmoth in Season 2, and we find out his motivations around that time, I believe. So, with that being said, we don't know what his motives are. So, whoever's wearing that mask, we can't say for certain that he was always a psychotic piece of work. And unfortunately, that's kind of where it ends for Hawkmoth. But we also have Cat Noir / Adrian Agreste, who is the most evident example of somebody acting differently as a hero than they do as themselves. We went into this a little bit in the character portraits, but Adrian is very obedient, kind-hearted. He doesn't tend to joke around nearly as much as Cat Noir does. He's not nearly as flamboyant, let's say. All of which are things that Cat Noir does to extremes. That's a very stark personality change to just be there. And it was present from day one. And while he was very helpful, very supportive of Marinette or Ladybug in Origins, the fact that it's such a stark personality change right off the bat kind of makes me wonder. And then we look at Marinette, who is different from Ladybug. Not quite as stark of a change as Adrian and Cat Noir, but Marinette being the walking, talking disaster who stumbles over herself all the time, suddenly being a beacon of justice and a pillar of what's right versus what's wrong in society, being able to make those decisions in the blink of an eye when, in her normal state, has a penchant for kleptomania. It just seems to me that if you were a superhero, wouldn't that apply a lot more pressure? If the pressure of being Marinette is enough to make her stumble over herself, incredibly clumsy, then what would the pressure of being a superhero do? Apparently, make you a pillar of society. It just doesn't make sense to me. Although, you could always just say that, well, people work differently when they're wearing a mask. Nobody knows that it's her. However, it doesn't matter if nobody knows that it's her, because people's lives are in her hands, and we do see her feel that a little bit in episode Origins, but she overcomes it. How does she overcome it? By being Ladybug. That something just doesn't seem right about that. Of course, she also has Tiki talking in her ear, but having Tiki in her ear all the time didn't really stop her from stealing the photographer's capture card in episode Reflecta. Yes, episode Reflecta. Now did it. And there's another thing that kind of makes me raise an eyebrow, and it's that old man. Why did he choose those two high school students to wield the two most powerful miraculouses that were in his possession? And we know that they are the most powerful miraculouses because it tells us in season 1. But just in case, let me check my notes. Let's see, we go into the history tab, and we go in, and miraculous are given. Yeah, the miraculous of the ladybug and the miraculous of the black cat are the most powerful. So yes, it was given to us in season 1, and yes, I did write all of this, but don't worry, this is a bullet point list and not a script I'm reading off of. Why would he give them to high school students? And are we really led to believe that nobody in all of Paris that he tested as an adult helped out an ailing old man across the street before he got hit by a car? I mean, what would have happened if Marinette didn't help him? Would he have just jumped out of the way? I mean, probably, but I highly doubt that Marinette and Adrien were the only people. Now, this is definitely a little bit more on the speculation side, but my theory is that Master Fu, do we know that his name is Master Fu yet? I know that his name is Master Fu. So Master Fu, the old man, tested them and tested a lot of people all across Paris to see who would be most compatible with the miraculous of the ladybug and the miraculous of the black cat. The first test was simply proving that you had a good heart and were willing to go out of your way to help others. Marinette and Adrien and probably a lot of other people did that in spades. However, I believe that he followed them. How else would he know where they lived? I mean, I guess Adrien is super popular, and I think he was rescued by Marinette right outside of her home, so he probably, if anything, he was already following them, so. But the fact that Marinette and Adrien are so opposite of their kwamis, their personalities are so starkly different, Marinette being a disaster and not put together at all, while Tiki is very methodical, it seems like, to me anyway. Lawful good versus chaotic good, and then Adrien and Plag also playing into that lawful good versus chaotic good. Adrien's lawful, Plag is chaotic, Marinette is chaotic, and Tiki is lawful. It seems to me like they were selected for more than just their good nature, but also their natural disposition. Maybe in order to not truly affect the personalities too much, or to alter them in a way that would make them dark, you need an inherent personality that is naturally opposed to the personality of the kwami, and preferably somebody who isn't evil, or naturally disposed to being evil, or mentally unstable, like Hawkmoth may or may not be. Master Fu also spoke of doing this once before, except making a grave mistake. Perhaps his mistake in the past when selecting a holder for the Black Cat and Ladybug Miraculouses is that he didn't choose based off of their compatibility and only their heart, and it ended up negatively affecting the holders of those Miraculouses. I think that the thing that pushed me over the edge and really made me consider this theory in the first place was an episode Volpina, and how Marinette interacted with Lila in that episode. It was very interesting, because Marinette, who transformed purely out of a selfish desire to hurt Lila, first of all, immediately did that, embarrassed Lila, she ran away crying, and then immediately afterward, when she had time to think, she was like, wow, maybe I went a little overboard with that, but I guess I don't really have to deal with that now. But it seemed to me like she had a little bit of regret about that, which is not something you would expect from Marinette, who was absolutely seething. She probably would have been proud of herself. I mean, she would have been proud of herself if she made Chloe cry, but that's just me, of course, and the way that I'm spinning it kind of inherently goes with the theory, or I'm trying to make it sound like it goes with the theory, but I'm sure there are plenty of other explanations. This is just the one that I came up with. And the fact that she once she had a moment to think about it. And this happens time and time again. Marinette does something, then she transforms into Ladybug, has time to ruminate on it as Ladybug, and she comes to the conclusion that Tiki was right and that she was wrong every single time. And yet as Marinette, she still makes these decisions. She stole Alia's phone, she stole Marinette's phone. Hold on a second. Has Adrian's schedule for the next school year at least. Blow off a ceremony in her honor as Ladybug to break into Adrian's locker and steal his phone. She stole the capture card each and every time when she becomes Ladybug, except with Alia's phone. Guess that does kind of go against my theory. But the other times, she eventually came to the conclusion that Tiki was right. And while you could say that it's Marinette growing as a character, if she keeps doing it, is she really growing as a character? This being the first theory that I've done and really doing a bunch of research on it, I know that this is a shaky theory. I fully recognize that. But it's a step. So tell me what you think of this theory while I'm working on the other ones. Maybe I can make an addendum to this when I do the big conglomerate theory. If you find anything that I missed that supports it, or anything that really pokes holes, I will add it in. If you bring me something from season 1, it has to be from season 1, because I think that they're important for theory crafting. You need supporting evidence and you need contradictory evidence, because the contradictory evidence can spur you to making better theories and to making more complete theories. So please, go ahead and poke holes in this. I am begging you. But until next time, like if you liked, don't if you don't, and don't bother subscribing because I haven't done anything yet. But do come back for the next video. And, I'll see you next time. Bye!